What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn has urged Anthony Joshua to forget about Deontay Wilder for one reason. Eddie Hearn goes on to say that he should forget about Deontay Wilder because he has Andy Ruiz in front of him, and Andy Ruiz is a bad style for AJ. He goes on to say, because you look at the smaller guys he's fought, Takam, Povetkin, he's struggled a little bit against that style. Ruiz is a lot quicker than both of these guys. He probably doesn't punch as hard as Povetkin, but he's got pop. What I like about Andy Ruiz is that he knows the opportunity in front of him, and he's just going to have fun. He's going to let his hands go. He's going to try a Mike Tyson style, get in the inside, work Joshua's body, and let the big hooks go over the top. This is going to be a firefight, says Eddie Hearn. Joshua's got to be in this. And everybody's talking about Deontay Wilder, the undisputed fight. But when is it going to happen? Worry about Andy Ruiz. He is the problem next Saturday. You take your eye off the ball in this heavyweight game like that, it's all over. And we can forget about those fights. You know, Eddie Hearn is really telling the truth. I will agree with him about the style. I actually did a kind of semi-fight study. I did a really official breakdown of Joshua and Ruiz. I'll do that later today. But he's right. Andy Ruiz, I was looking at him train yesterday, and he was working the mitts. And if you guys seen Andy Ruiz, despite his size, the guy can punch, and the guy's quick. He's a good counter puncher, and he's a good combination puncher. He has a pretty good pedigree. And if you do take your eye off the ball, like Eddie Hearn said, you could end up losing focus. When I hear Anthony Joshua talk about, I'm going to give 100% focus on Deontay Wilder, I'm thinking to myself, Deontay Wilder is not in front of you. Not as of now. Maybe not even ever. But he's not the person in front of you. He's not your next opponent. Andy Ruiz is. And Andy Ruiz fights nothing like Deontay Wilder. Okay? These are two different guys. You got a shorter guy that throws combinations, that likes to work the inside, that likes to pick his punches, right? Strategically, versus a taller, rangier, wiry, tall guy that can punch hard with one hand. That's two different styles that you do not want to cross compare. And Eddie Hearn knows. He's like, well, take care of your investment. Worry about what you got besides trying to worry about a WBC belt that, you may or may not be privileged to fight, especially this year. This guy's fighting you Saturday, June 1st, Madison Square Garden. He's a replacement for Jarrell Miller. And this guy is coming. And it's like these particular fights. Let's take for example, right? You had Ledwaba. Lenedolo Ledwaba. He's from South Africa. He was a fighter that was... he was pretty much discovered by HBO in Johannesburg when Lennox Lewis was upset by Hasim Rahman, okay? He was on the undercard. And they discovered him and wanted to offer him a contract, a 5-fight deal for, I don't know how many millions, maybe $2 or $3 million or something like that. It was a nice contract, especially for the time, because this is like the early 2000s. Now, he goes on to come to the States to start his first fight. His fighter pulled out due to a cold or injury. No, it was a cold. And they brought Manny Pacquiao in there, right? Manny Pacquiao destroyed Ledwaba in 6 rounds, and the rest is history. You don't hear about Ledwaba anymore, but you still hear about Manny Pacquiao to this day. So, that's an example of, first of all, a replacement. Then you got to get accustomed and acclimate to another guy and another guy's style, especially when you was training for this particular style. And Miller does throw combinations too, and he does move forward, so it's not a big change, right? I don't know about punching power because I really, I don't really know if Miller's and Ruiz's, mutual fighters, any common guy that we can, compare those dudes to see how these guys punch. If I had to guess, I would say that Ruiz punches harder than Miller, just by hearing the punches land and and the connecting sound of these punches. They sound like they hurt. You know what I mean? A lot more than Miller's. Miller's just a really big dude. But I do agree with Eddie. You have to focus on the person in front of you. That's why a lot of people, lose focus, because they're like, hey, I'm worried about this potential big fight, but then you're not worried about the fight in front of you. So, Eddie has a point, and I know Eddie is trying to back his fighter, and, I would be telling Anthony Joshua the same thing if I'm Eddie Hearn. Focus on Andy Ruiz. Let me worry about Deontay Wilder. Let Barry worry about Deontay Wilder. Let John Skipper worry about Deontay Wilder, not you. You know what I mean? So, I got to agree to him. There's really not much to say about that. He could put himself in a situation where, I hope it's a good fight. I hope it's not a shutout. But then again, you don't want to lose because you're focused on the next fight. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about Eddie Hearn's comments. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunched. Peace.